In a future marred by oppression, where the aftermath of World War III brought about the rule of father in the Tetragrammaton, a governing body that enforces a complete ban on art and emotion, individuals are compelled to consume substances called Prozium that eradicate any trace of feelings in this society where all forms of feeling are illegal.
Cleric John Preston. You are under arrest.
If you want to stay in the loop and receive more exciting videos, make sure to subscribe, click the notification bell, and don't forget to like the video. Equilibrium takes place in the dystopian city-state of Libria, set in a futuristic era. The movie depicts a devastating Third World War that unfolds in the early years of the 21st century, causing civilizations worldwide to crumble. In the aftermath, global leaders, deeply concerned about the survival of the human race in a potential Fourth World War, embark on the construction of a conflict-free society. Driven by the belief that human emotions fuel inhumane behavior, the newly appointed leaders impose a ban on materials that are likely to evoke strong emotions, including art, music, and literature. These emotionally charged materials are typically swiftly incinerated. Furthermore, all residents of Libria are mandated to undergo regular injections, known as intervals, of Prozium, a liquid drug obtained from distribution centers called equilibrium, which suppresses emotions. The governance of Libria rests in the hands of the Tetragrammaton Council, led by the reclusive figurehead known as Father. Although Father never interacts with individuals outside the ruling council, his omnipresent image cultivates a powerful cult of personality throughout the city. The Tetragrammaton Council strives to establish identical lives for all Librians, employing a police-state apparatus to enforce conformity and unity. The pinnacle of law enforcement in Libria is represented by the Grammaton Clerics, highly trained in the lethal martial art of Gun Kata. This combat discipline enables them to anticipate their opponent's actions during firearm combat. The primary tasks of the clerics include identifying and eliminating EC-10 materials, as well as pursuing, capturing, and, if necessary, terminating sense offenders, those guilty of experiencing emotions. Grammaton Cleric First Class John Preston, Christian Bale, takes center stage as the protagonist of the film. He holds the highest ranking among the clerics in Libria and is a widower, his wife, Maria Pia Calzone, having been executed after being exposed as a sense offender. This unfortunate event leaves him with two children, Robbie, Matthew Harbour, and Lisa, Emily Seward. During a raid on a group of resistance members in the Nethers, Preston becomes aware that his partner, Grammaton Cleric First Class Errol Partridge, Sean Bean, has secretly taken a copy of Yeats' poems. Preston discovers that Partridge has not handed over the book for destruction and tracks him to a dilapidated cathedral in the Nethers. In this setting, Partridge discusses emotions and coerces Preston to assist him in a suicide by cop. Soon after, Preston accidentally breaks the vial containing his morning dose of Prozium, leading him to experience emotions for the first time. Preston is then paired with a new partner, the ambitious Brant, Tay Diggs. During a routine police raid on Mary O'Brien, Emily Watson, a Librian woman who has ceased taking Prozium, Preston's emotional turmoil escalates during her interrogation. He defies protocol by finding an excuse not to execute a puppy in the Nethers. Having already stopped taking Prozium, Preston must now strive to maintain his stoic and emotionless demeanor in the presence of his son and the increasingly suspicious Brant. Throughout the film, Preston's behavior increasingly mirrors that of Partridge at the beginning. During a visit to the Nethers, he is compelled to kill several Librian policemen who discover the rescued puppy in his car. Brant, having observed Preston rearranging his desk, a sign of rejecting conformity, and refusing to personally execute resistance members during a raid in the Nethers, grows more suspicious. Consequently, Preston is summoned before Vice Consul DuPont, Angus McFadden, where he explains his attempt to infiltrate the resistance with the intention of dismantling it. DuPont mentions rumors of a cleric seeking to join the resistance, and Preston pledges to identify this traitor. Preston eventually establishes contact with the resistance and agrees to assassinate Father, Sean Pertwee, an act that will create chaos, allowing the underground to detonate bombs in Libria's Prozium factories and potentially overthrow the Tetragrammaton Council. However, witnessing Mary O'Brien's execution in Libria's furnaces overwhelms Preston with uncontrollable grief, resulting in Brant arresting him. Brant brings Preston before DuPont, but Preston cleverly manipulates the situation, tricking DuPont into believing that Brant is the true criminal. As a result, Preston is seemingly cleared of any charges and released. Upon returning home, Preston takes action to destroy his hidden stash of Prozium before the police can discover it. However, he is confronted by his young son, who reveals that both he and his sister have abstained from taking Prozium for some time and have secretly kept Preston's supply. This revelation indicates their involvement in a complex plot devised with the underground. The resistance leaders willingly surrender themselves to Preston as part of the plan. With their assistance, Preston persuades DuPont to grant him an audience with Father. Arriving for his meeting, Preston is confronted by Father in a surprising turn of events. Via a telescreen, Father addresses Preston, disclosing that he has been aware of Preston's disobedience and that Brant's arrest was staged to deceive Preston into believing his assassination plan could proceed. The face on the telescreen then changes, revealing the true identity of Father, the Vice Consul DuPont himself. DuPont explains that the original Father had died years ago and that he was elected as the new head of state by the Tetragrammaton Council. Despite the revelation, Preston refuses to submit. He embarks on a relentless rampage, employing concealed pistols to eliminate obstacles and reach Brant and DuPont. Preston and Brant engage in a duel using paired short swords reminiscent of the Japanese wakizashi, but Preston easily overpowers and defeats Brant. Subsequently, Preston and DuPont face off in a battle of Gun Kata masters, wielding handguns. During the intense confrontation, Preston gains the upper hand and ultimately kills DuPont. Preston proceeds to dismantle the propaganda machines responsible for spreading government messages across Libria. He also destroys the device projecting holographic images of Father, thereby exposing the true extent of the crisis faced by the Tetragrammaton Council. In response, the underground detonates their bombs, triggering chaos and the release of prisoners. The film concludes with a riot erupting, symbolizing the downfall and destruction of the oppressive Librian government.